Okay. Welcome back to What's Niggling Me. Got an age restriction on my episode yesterday. First one I've gotten. And I feel it could be, when I think back on it, I feel like it could be a wide variety of reasons. I went over I watched the Ovan's podcast about the woman soon born of, and I just had a couple things I've been confused by that maybe if anybody watches it, they'll chime in because they have some insight or something, you know? I gave my personal notes, I suppose, on my feelings, I guess, on sex in the world of sex. I don't really know. But they didn't like it, or they thought it should be age restricted, whatever. I'm just trying to give tips, you know? Sex ed class when we were growing up, that was a fucking joke, right? In high school, I think grade 10. Sure, you take shit in grade school, learned about fucking dicks and pussies, but like, Family Life, I think is what it was called, the book or whatever. Who the fuck remembers that? I wonder what they teach now. Fucking 800 genders, or I believe accurately 100 and something. Got a man and a woman, and he inserts penis into vagina and talk about fucking the eggs and shit, you know what I mean? Like, that's that, but then sex ed. They scare you about sexually transmitted diseases. That's what they do, basically. It's like just scaring you for a week. I think it's a week. I can't remember. It's a long time ago. But you watch some videos that are fucking old, just like when you do the drug kind of shit. They show you videos that are from like the 80s. Should have showed us that video of Bill Cosby talking to a Spanish fly so we could understand what it did. So I was just trying to give a little insight from my point of view. I don't know. Okay, but for the real topic of today, my thoughts may be scattered, or it might seem scattered. If you bear with me, you'll see where I'm going. Okay. If you watched any other episodes, or if you've watched them all, which I highly doubt, but thank you if you did. I love sports. When I was a kid, first love, sports. Probably then girls' butts. But like, sports. I loved what a human was capable of. What are humans capable of? Fuck. So when I was a kid, I was watching strongman events. A kid. We went to one in North Bay when I was a kid. It was awesome. I can remember Hugo Gerard was there, and some guy, French guy, starts with a P. Paul, I don't know. I think he might end up being one of the best. Paulien, I don't know. But it started with a P. So cool. These are functional humans that are some of the biggest humans in the world. Pretty fucking fascinating to me. Ends up, I'm like one of the smallest fucking humans. But, so, what humans could do fascinated me. Guinness Book of Records was huge when I was a kid. Always wanted to know what humans are capable of. Ripley's Believe It or Not, super fucking cool. When I was in school, This probably seemed insane to my parents, and it does seem insane to me, but it makes sense to me that when I was in grade school, I can't even think of how old, but I was in grade school. I had a kid in my grade school when he got a new pair of shoes. I had him sign his old ones, and I kept them at my house for a long time till I was a teenager. And my mom, I remember saying something like, "Do you think it's time we throw these out?" I'll ask my mom. I'll put it in my notes. When do you think we got rid of Brian Simone's shoes? Not currently asking it right now. The phone I got texted on is that phone that I'm recording on. When did we get rid of Brian Simone's shoes? I was in grade school, and I thought Brian Simone was going to be a professional athlete. So I had him sign a pair of shoes, like his pair of shoes, and give them to me, because I literally thought that. I should have went to be a scout. Like, I should have went to school to be a scout, because that's the coolest thing in the world to me, still to this day. I was doing fantasy sports before anybody was doing fantasy sports. Smallworld.com is what it was called. I was doing that shit when Derek Fisher, Kobe Bryant, Shaq, Robert Horry, they all played on the same basketball team. That's how long ago I was doing fantasy sports. Google wasn't a thing when I was doing fantasy sports. Google wasn't a thing at all. It was Yahoo. Yahoo was the #1 web browser when I was doing fantasy sports as a kid. This is not cool. I'd be at lunch going on the computer in grade school because I was doing salary cap. Salary caps were my preferred method of fantasy sports. And that's how long ago I was doing fantasy sports, because I love athletics. And I always thought it'd be cool if people from all around the world got the same opportunity, which, who knows, maybe that's 25 years later. Right now that's called DEI. But sports is based off merit for the most part at the professional level. I understand that Bronny is given that nepotism. Okay, I don't know if I'm helping whoever's listening understand how much I love athletics. I love the Olympics. I don't appreciate the 100K walk that's in the Olympics. It's one of the few sports that doesn't impress me. If you say I'm the fastest walker in the world, miss me on it. That doesn't wow me. I could appreciate most people think soccer is a pussy sport. They have one break at the 45th minute. Other than that, they don't get a break for 90 minutes. They have to sprint, jog, and can't come. If you come off the field, then you're not allowed to go back in. You don't get to sub back in professional soccer. So I know everyone thinks it's a pussy sport, but if you look at football, if you look at soccer, if you look at hockey, all those sports dive. All those sports have implemented an unsportsmanlike penalty or something along those lines if you flop. If they catch you fucking flopping in any of those sports now, not for all the years, for all the decades until now, maybe the last 10, NBA, NHL, NFL, they have to literally have specific penalties for that. Fuck. I keep letting my joint vote. So all the people that bitch about soccer, the flopping in soccer, why they're doing it is because they're fucking tired because they only have one break. That's why football players are doing it. That's why hockey players are doing it. You're playing hockey, you've been on the penalty kill the whole fucking time for the whole 2 minutes, and you need to fucking flop to fucking get a whistle because you're a liability being out there all tired. Shit like that. It's hypothetical. I have no clue where I was going with this. But I did think Brian Small was going to be a professional athlete. He ended up being the fastest kid anywhere. He was going to he went to the States eventually on scholarship to play baseball. But he didn't become a professional athlete. I was in grade school. It was my first time scouting anybody. If you looked at my Facebook, I called in 2013 that Giannis would be an MVP. There's a bunch, but to sum it up, I love sports. I'm pretty sure the last I heard, Brian was going to be go try to be a professional cyclist. Maybe I look it up eventually. I don't think it'd be the easiest to find. There's a documentary by Brian Fogel. He did this crazy experiment, and the documentary, I highly suggest watching it, and I'm not even going to ruin it because it's amazing. I'll try to give a vague summary. He hires a guy because he's a cyclist. He hires a guy because he realizes that the only way you can be competitive is you need to dope. Like, you need to take if you don't have any knowledge on it, then it's not just steroids. Steroids really aren't the key for that sport. For a lot of sports, specifically like what people think are steroids, you need endurance. That's what you need. So there's blood doping and stuff. You can take testosterone, like that's gonna help you, and stuff, and growth hormone, like that stuff's gonna help you. But you want fresh blood cells. You want muscular endurance, like that. And yeah, there's just tons of different types of steroids. When you say steroids, there's so many different things that these things do, because there's fucking all these scientists out there trying to beat the doping programs. There's some Victor Balco. There's a few people, Alex Rodriguez, his doctor. There's a few people that are really popular. And one of the guys is a Russian guy that's really popular for speaking out about this stuff and what athletes do and how they get around everything. Athletes, I have no urge to compete in natural bodybuilding anymore as of right now, because I know there's no fucking way that the guy that won last year's world championship is natural. I don't fucking care if he fucking passes a polygraph. There's no fucking way that guy's a natural fucking bodybuilder. It's a fucking lie. So I just feel like I have no urge, because clearly, you can get around it. And I've been following athletics for a long time, and I've been seeing people. I remember when Marion Jones is on top of the world, and she was on a bunch of fucking growth. But Brian Fogel put out this documentary called Icarus, and it's exceptional. And he starts off by wanting to be a competitive cyclist, and he ends up bringing down, and the outcome is, because of this documentary, is the reason why Russia's not allowed in any Olympics or any sports, because they had a government-funded statewide doping program for their athletes, for so incredible amount of sports, all sports. That's why Russians that do compete anywhere, they compete under a neutral flag, is what it's called. Uh, then he put out a documentary after that, totally different, not about sports whatsoever, and it's just as incredible. Brian Fogel is an incredible documentary maker. There's Icarus, about ends up being about this guy becomes competitive, but under the regimen that this guy's giving him at the beginning of the documentary, this guy becomes competitive. He logs everything. He runs. He competes naturally and documents it. Then competes under this doctor's regimen he's given him. It's incredible. But then it turns into why Russia's not allowed in the Olympics and shit like that no more. Crazy. Why they're not allowed in the World Championships and stuff like that and stuff. Just nuts. So then Brian Fogel makes, that was an accidental documentary. Brian Fogel makes The Dissident. The Dissident is eerie, I guess. I've watched a lot of things. I've watched a lot of things that I don't recommend people watch and people don't even know about. Like a Two Girls, One Cup is nothing. The guy getting fucked by a horse and getting killed after, well, he doesn't die in film. Getting fucked by a horse leads to him dying later. That stuff was on the internet. Probably still can find it. I'm not searching for it. But you don't even see it. You just know what's happening. You watch this documentary, and you know what's you know what's happening, and it just feels. I can't even think of something that I've watched more recently. This documentary came out in 2020, maybe I think, and I watched the dancing movie, the dancing documentary. I think the BBC, the British fucking network there. I think it's their documentary. It's the dancing one. It's about October 7th. And you see the visuals in that documentary are more grotesque than The Dissident, but knowing what's happening in The Dissident is just disturbing. I'm not saying the October 7th one isn't disturbing, but the Dissident one, Jamal Khashoggi. I'll pretend when I'm doing this, I pretty much act like I'm talking to my brother. That's how I do this. That was my method. I remember thinking about it months ago. And I don't like talking on camera, but I'll rant to my brother when I'm talking to him on like a video chat. And that's why I felt like I should be doing this, just for, let's put this stuff that I say on film. Let's get receipts. That's what I thought. I was like, I feel like I have my finger on the fucking culture for a long time. I'm interested. I want to know about the world. I have fucking 11 nationalities in me when I did my ancestry, which I kind of regret in the more recent time, but I did it. My dad got it. I was constantly all about my nationalities for my whole life because I knew I was a bunch, but I wanted to know more. So eventually, years ago, when Ancestry came out back then, I got him to. He did it for Christmas for our whole family, and it was pretty cool. But now that I seen that 23andMe fucking sold their people's fucking data, I don't like that. Now I'm not. And I seen what happened with COVID and watching Event 201 and then listening to Larry Ellison talk about creating specific cures for each person. I don't like the government having my DNA like that. I don't like companies having my DNA like that. Because as much as they think that they can make a specific cure for you, they could also make a specific illness for you, right? So Jamal Khashoggi. I'm pretty sure my brother, I might have mentioned this before to him, but okay, Jamal Khashoggi, journalist, Saudi Arabian. Mohammed bin Salman, he's a young guy, becomes the prince of Saudi Arabia before he should be, because that's not how the successors work. He gets installed into, he's the leader, he's young. MBS they call him, because Mohammed bin Salman, not everybody's remembering it or wanting to say it. MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, current leader of Saudi Arabia, gets put in power years ago, young. And I think it's because during the Arab Spring, a bunch of those countries with in my opinion, and I'm pretty fucking sure it's verified, the help of the United States government overthrew, and Tom Cotton fucking said it at the beginning of Tulsi Gabbard's fucking hearing, that they helped overthrow Gaddafi. And he didn't vote, he voted no for regime change in Libya, which currently has a slave trade going on, even though it was prosperous when Gaddafi was in power. They had fucking roads and power. Hey, this is fucking Africa. They pulled a fucking Israel and fucking built in the fucking desert. They developed in the desert. Fuck. I knew I'd be out of control on this episode. Jamal Khashoggi, Saudi Arabian MBS. They got this young guy in there because the majority of the population, a high percentage of the population in Saudi Arabia is young people. And as you can see now, more than ever, I just watched UFC this past weekend in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh. I watched Francis Ngannou fight Tyson Fury 2 years ago in Saudi Arabia. He is bringing Western culture to Saudi Arabia. Now, these motherfuckers were lobbing hands off and heads off. They were cutting, you stole? Cut your fucking hand off, okay? You were gay? Toss you off a fucking rooftop, you're dead. So Saudi Arabia, all of a sudden with Mohammed bin Salman, is now letting girls dance. Bro, you should have seen the Saudi Arabian, the Ngannou Tyson Fury fight. They had like a little fucking concert beforehand. There was a girl dancing and singing. They'd never allowed that type of stuff. But this young guy was, because I feel like the sheiks, those fucking guys were scared. I feel like those princes and shit of Saudi Arabia, they were scared that, oh fuck, we just watched all these leaders get overthrown. We don't want to be next. We got to make this young population, we got to give them some stuff, some concessions, so they don't overthrow us. Because there's a majority of young people that's military age, they can fucking storm us. They fucking stuck a fucking bayonet up Gaddafi's ass when they killed him. Horrible. He should have killed him. I guess like you can't do that in their religion, right? Probably can't kill yourself. But the way that he died was torturous. Very sure. Help of the United States government. I believe it 100%, but I'm very sure it's verified out there, even by all the government lovers. So Mohammed bin Salman, though, Jamal Khashoggi is writing bad stuff about him, because he's fucking people up in Yemen. Okay, and Mohammed bin Salman doesn't like someone being critical of him. So, what do you know? Jamal Khashoggi goes into he's in Turkey, Istanbul, Turkey, goes into the Saudi Arabian consulate because he's going to get married to his wife, his fiance. Goes to grab the papers inside, never comes out. This sucks that my joint keeps going out. And I'm running low on this lighter fluid. He goes into the consulate to get these documents and never comes out of there. They, after a fight by Turkish officials, I'm pretty sure this, like the CIA, the Americans, they go in there and they do like, I don't even know. I don't want to ruin this. It's horrible, but I'm not even going to finish it. You know what? For anybody that does watch us, I don't want to ruin it because I feel like they weren't marketing this anywhere, right? So most people aren't going to know about The Dissident in general. So I highly recommend The Dissident. And maybe I'll talk about it in a later episode, but this gives you time to watch it, hopefully. It's disturbing, to say the least. Now where am I going with that? I won't even tell you about The Dissident. Jamal Khashoggi, though. His uncle was Adnan Khashoggi, huge arms dealer. His sister was Dodi Al-Fayed's mom. Dodi Al-Fayed. Adnan Khashoggi was Dodi Al-Fayed's uncle. And Jamal Khashoggi's uncle. Dodi Al-Fayed, if you don't know him, was Princess Diana's lover. And got killed in the car with her. And in my opinion, I'm pretty sure it's because the royals didn't want a brown person anywhere near the royal family. That's my opinion. I'm killing my joint, just fucking up. Oh, and Adnan Khashoggi, that guy, huge arms dealer, he died, and Donald Trump bought his yacht. And I'm pretty sure, I forget who I heard, I think it had to deal with Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, was buddies with him. And because arms dealer is a very good friend to have when you work for the Israeli government. And I'm pretty sure that yacht, like Adnan Khashoggi was blackmailing people back in the day for Robert Maxwell. And then Trump bought that yacht. And I'm pretty sure Trump probably blackmailed a bunch of people on that, having people on that yacht. He doesn't drink or smoke, Donald Trump. He learned real early from Roy Cohn. Okay. All these side notes. So I love sports. if you're watching this, I appreciate it. If you're like, where the fuck is this guy going? Where's he going with all this? I love sports. I kept this newspaper, okay? Because when I lived in Windsor, this newspaper's from 2016. And Thursday, January 28th, 2016, I kept this newspaper because I worked at the college. I worked at St. Clair College. And I worked at the Sportsplex. They have this, they built a new Sportsplex. And I got a job when they opened it up. In 2014, I believe it was. Got to keep this thing going. No more Bogart in the joint. It's not a microphone grab. So I'm working there. They host like, because it's brand new, basketball courts and shit. They host a bunch of events. They host like provincials for high school basketball. They end up hosting in 2016, November. I remember. Oh, lost it. Whatever. Pretty fucking stoned. November. There's a tournament. But like a smaller tournament, not provincials. I don't think it was provincials. But it was a smaller tournament then. And I see they get this kid. I forget where he was from. Let me real quick. Oh, come on, man. Okay. South Sudan. Guys from South Sudan. They get a guy, they got the Catholic Central High School gets this kid from South Sudan. They say he's 16 years old. And I see him in person. And I'm like, yo, it's a grown man. Now, I remember Greg Oden. He was the man-child. And I get that Greg Oden looked like a man. But like, this guy had like permanent forehead wrinkles, and he was 16 apparently. Like he was grade 11. They get this guy into high school, and they put him in as grade 11. I don't know if you can see this. Eh? I don't know how well that comes in. So, Jonathan Nicola. This motherfucker. I see him, he starts school in September, right? And I see him in November, and I'm like, there's no fucking way. I'm like, he looks my age. So he played, like, this is in January. A newspaper comes out, and I'm like, I'm keeping it, because I don't believe it. This happened in the States, I'm pretty sure, 2 different times I know, because I followed sports that much. Like, I was, before ESPN was way different, like years and years ago. They had comments on articles, and they do not have comments on articles anymore for a reason, because of those chats were insane. They were awesome. And I'd be reading every article on there. It wasn't, it was a different time. And I remember a couple times it happened where dumb, crazy motherfuckers went back to, moved states. These people lived in America, moved states, enrolled in high school, joined the basketball team as a different name. Fucking insane. I know of 2 cases of that. Well, this motherfucker came from South Sudan, Jonathan Nicola, on a fucking forged visa. And I seen this motherfucker with girls. Like, that's what was crazy to me, was this guy, This guy ended up being a year older than me. This guy ended up being 27 years old, playing as a 16-year-old. This guy was a grown-ass man. You know what's crazier? He lived with the high school coach, the high school basketball coach. He lived with this guy. This guy was, okay, why I was so amazed. Should have said this in the beginning. This guy was 6'8", okay? This 6'8", 16-year-old from South Sudan. I was like, yo, that's crazy. How good can this kid be? He had a YouTube video and shit like that, like of drills and stuff I was watching. Because I'm like, yo, how cool could this be? I love sports. I love athletics. Let's say Tobago there. I was pumped. I won fucking money on him beating Noah Lyles because I was watching all the fucking 2 years beforehand of the meets. I'm watching the grainy ass footage, no offense, that these African countries, like when they put out their videos on YouTube of their meets, the footage usually isn't that great. But I'm watching them. I'm watching the Jamaican ones. They're pretty shit too. But they're just not like a high quality American one. But I'm watching all these athletes. I watch Gout. I know he's gotten bigger now. I'm watching. I'm scouting. I want to see who the next greatest people are. I'm trying to look for the next Usain Bolt. I'm looking for these people. So I was pumped about Jonathan Niggling until I seen him in person in November, and I'm like, this motherfucker is a man. And he turned out, he got busted. He was a grown man. Lied on his visa. And that is one of my examples of our immigration policy. Our immigration vetting. Our vetting is clearly shit. Okay? I thought this guy was going to be Dwayne Dedman. Dwayne Dedman, I remember, got this Sports Illustrated. I think my brother had a subscription back in the day. And really it was like my dad getting it. So I'd be reading them on. Dwayne Dedman, he was like this high school kid, or he was just like, yeah, he was this fucking high school kid, 7 foot. Never played a sport in his life because he was Jehovah's Witness, and you're not like, small boy doesn't play any sports. Coach seen him. A long time since I thought about Dwayne Dedman. High school coach seen him watching the game and was like, yo, this motherfucker's huge. High school, 7 foot. Tells him, like, we're gonna hide it from your mom. Can you imagine how uncoordinated he was? Shit, I need water. Yeah, imagine how uncoordinated he was. 7 foot, never played a sport. Guess what? Dwayne Dedman ended up going to USC, developing, like barely playing, developing, and made to the NBA, made millions of fucking dollars. Thought we were gonna see a Dwayne Dedman. Turned out this motherfucker. And if I was the parents of girls at that school, I'd be fucking pissed. So that's a hilarious, insane, stupid example of our quality vetting for our immigration in Canada. And then this one, there's no later update than this. I've looked. And it's from the BBC again. The Canadian government, okay, gave a citizenship to a guy who I'm not 100% sure because I haven't seen the video, but I guess this guy took part in, I don't know if it was a beheading or chopping a limb off for ISIS years ago. Well, Canada decided to give him a citizenship. and him and his son got busted plotting a terrorist attack. I don't know, last year, middle of the year last year. That's our immigration. Our immigration minister, Mark Miller, said he's going to take the next step, which is to start the preliminary work with the evidence at hand to look at whether the individual in question's citizenship should be revoked. This guy that eventually they found out that he committed a terrorist attack in 2015 for ISIS. And then he got caught plotting one here in Canada. We do a great job at vetting, eh? All these countries in the G7. Let me just make sure I got them all right. Countries in the G7, okay? If you look any of these countries up, they all run the same policies on major issues, and they all have immigration issues. Every single one of them. Canada? If you live in Canada, don't tell me we don't have an immigration problem, because the colleges and universities were taking advantage of countries, developing countries, and charging them triple tuition from compared to a domestic citizen. They were just having them come over here, setting up programs over there instead of developing those countries and building schools and infrastructure. Colleges and universities decided here in Canada, and I'm pretty sure in the United States from what I hear, but I know here because I worked at one, and they just took advantage of kids, families from India and Africa, and got them over here, charged them triple for tuition, and then give the corporate organizations like grocery stores and Tim Hortons and everywhere give the companies money to hire these international students. So then it makes more Canadian citizens out of work and frustrated when a person that is just learning the language is working in cash register when you're trying to order something and they have no clue what a double is. That makes current Canadian citizens pretty frustrated with the immigration issue. When if you go to Tim Hortons, 10 of the 12 people that are serving coffees are probably from India or Africa. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So Canada, that's the issue we have here. France, I hear they have the same issue there. Germany, Italy, Japan, England, United States. Do all those countries have immigration problems? Because they're all in the G7, running the same policies. I don't think I'd want to be on those guys' team. I'd say, what you guys are doing seems to be really fucking the country up for money. The G7, failing countries. All these failing countries currently in the G7. I was looking up. Japan's having an interesting issue. A lot of Chinese. I don't give a fuck what nationality you are, by the way. Zero fucks. I hear a ton of Chinese people are immigrating into Japan. And Japan has a declining birth rate issue. So in the future, there could be a majority Chinese in Japan. Native Chinese in Japan eventually. It seems like a possibility from what I was reading. Huh. I can't believe I'm this far in and I just realized we are at 45 minutes. Okay. If you watched any episodes, I don't know how many times, the thing that I've said the most, I believe, out of maybe 35 to 40 episodes of these I've done, the thing that I've said the most, I believe, if I go back, is someone better get those Palestinians out of Palestine because they're going to wipe them out. I've been saying, somebody's got to take those Palestinians, Egypt or Jordan or somebody. I heard Ireland at a point, but like times have changed, and Ireland has a better relationship with England, I think, than ever at the moment. And they probably shouldn't bring in any kind of other issues. I don't want to call them issues. But what did Trump say yesterday with fucking war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu? He said, I took a audio recording of it because I constantly been saying that this motherfucker, I liked Trump for multiple things. And one thing I did not like him for, but it didn't matter because if the Democrats got in, Israel would do what they're going to do anyways. I guess, you know what? The Trump route, in my opinion, is the better route. It's the better route, unfortunately. Because the Biden route is extermination. And that's why I've been urging for someone to get the fucking Palestinians out of there. They don't have an airport. They're not like Ukraine. Palestine's not allowed to have an airport. So they're fenced off, and either there's fences or there's an ocean. So there's nowhere to go. Nobody lets them in. Egypt closed the border to them. They're not allowed in. Jordan has a ton of Palestinians, but I get that it can be tough, I would say. And I'm not a fucking... And this sucks. I don't like you. Ukraine, they're fucking embezzling tons of money. And the United States government, they're embezzling money. Stealing money, in my opinion. From this fucking bullshit. And then they're gonna take their fucking farmland. Israel. So fucked, okay? Trump's gonna take all that land. This is insane. Do I even play the audio? I'll just tell you what the fucking audio says. You can go look it up if you want to watch it. If you think I'm saying something out of context, go fucking look it up. And it's 45 minutes long. It's fucking piece of shit Bibi Netanyahu standing next to Donald Trump doing a joint press conference, and it's fucking horseshit. Trump says what I've been saying over and over, that except he didn't say the he didn't say the final part, in my opinion, but he said that it's. He said these motherfuckers are unlucky. I didn't say that. Donald Trump said these motherfuckers are unlucky. Donald Trump says since the Palestinians are unlucky, we're going to have to move them out of there. It's already demolished, he says. And he says the United States is going to come in there and build. Now, he didn't specify what he's going to build. Fuck, I need chapstick. He didn't specify what he's going to build. I'm not going to put this on in front of the camera because I don't need no fucking screenshots of that. That's some gay shit. He didn't specify when he's going to build, but he said there's going to be jobs. This guy, the job creator. Donald Trump, the job creator. I know they want that fucking beachfront property. I know but it's crazy that he says that the United States is going to control it. I'm like watching Bibi Netanyahu look at Donald Trump, like wanting to smile ear to ear, saying, fuck yeah, we got this land. We got it. Another check mark on Greater Israel. Fuck. So insane. He said it finally. Like, but I knew this was the plan because I heard him keep saying, finish it quick. You know? That might not be the specific words, but finish it. Like, he just, do it quick. Not cool. Now, what's the plan? Fucking getting out a bunch of fucking bomber planes? Are you gonna fucking load these people up? You gonna load up 2 million people? You gonna load up 2 million Palestinians and fucking fly them into places, to countries? And I proposed this with some people yesterday, which was hilarious because I showed this guy fucking on my phone today. I'm like, hey, told you. Trump says he's taking over Gaza. Insane. So I proposed, like, hey, the college and university scam that's been going on for immigration, I'm not a fucking fan of that, and I want that to stop. But I completely understand these Palestinians need to go somewhere. We can't take fucking 2 million of them in Canada. And I don't know how, like, tight-knit everybody is over there. I know I've seen other cultures, like the Indian culture is very tight-knit, but I don't know what the Palestinian culture is like. And I can tell you that, yeah, 2 million people can't fucking come here and spread them out across Canada. 2 million more. We got too many fucking people from other countries at the moment and unaccounted for under a shitty vetting process. And their visas are expiring this year, and we have, I heard 30,000 plus unaccounted for. So what a shit show. So who's taking the Palestinians? This guy says 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 12. I think he said, I wonder if he said those numbers, but I think he said something like those are the numbers he said. That many countries can take the Palestinians, divide up 1.8 million Palestinians. But I've been saying it for months and months. After I watch these documentaries, I'm like, yo, two-state solution? You're fucking insane. After killing the fucking Jewish people like that and abducting them, they, the Israeli government is never taking a two-state solution. They're never living next to Palestinians ever again if it's up to them. They hate them. Have you ever seen Man on the Street in Israel? They hate Palestinians. Okay? They'd be better off in the desert. That's what the majority of the Jewish people, Man on the Streets, are like. Two-state solution is a fucking joke. I've been urging the Palestinians need to go somewhere. And they don't gotta fucking... They can't fly out of there. They need to get taken into the neighboring countries. And Israel needs to leave those neighboring countries alone. It's going to be an expanded Israel. It's going to be Israel. Didn't want it to happen, but if it continued with Biden and Blinken and those losers, Bibi Netanyahu would still keep saying, yeah, and just keep launching missiles. Same would be going on in Ukraine. They're enlisting fucking grandfathers because they're limited on people now. They're enlisting grandfathers, okay? Conscripting, not enlisting. They're conscripting grandfathers. They're ruining the country. The war needs to fucking stop. If there's going to continue to be a Ukrainian nationality, gotta stop the fucking war. There's more Russians than Ukrainians. Let's get serious. Ukraine was outlawing their churches and their language in certain areas. No, all over Ukraine. And in certain areas, they were fucking Russian Orthodox fucking Christians. And they're not allowed to have those churches anymore. I'm not a religious person, but that's fucking bullshit. They were banning them from speaking Russian, and that's horseshit. Yeah, Putin shouldn't have invaded, but like, the United States kept fucking wanting to put NATO there, and man, retarded really is the word, Mom. That's bullshit, fucking putting missiles right next to Russia because they didn't let Russians put missiles in Cuba. Let's be fair. Let's have some diplomacy. I know that the United States is trying to put in a certain leader into Romania now because they see that the Ukrainian plan has backfired and it's over. So now the CIA is going to try and get a Romanian leader in there so they can, because that's real close to Russia too. So they can have a good eye. That's going to be the home base now in Eastern Europe for the CIA. Is going to be Romania, in my opinion. So it's just really unfortunate. Oh no, it's unlucky. Trump says it's unlucky that the Palestinians, they live there. I think it's unlucky that Thomas Herzl thought, hey, we should have that land back, even though he didn't live there. And then, I don't know. I think he had good intentions. He didn't know that terrorists would take the lead. Huh. It's crazy. I wonder, in the far future, not because it's not going to happen in the short term, I can see that. In the far future, It's not gonna. I won't be around, but Israel claims Zionists, Israel, Jewish people claim they're the chosen people, right? What if in 4,000 more years the Palestinians decide that's our land and we want it back? Hey, DJ Khaled, I'm pretty sure you're the most famous Palestinian in the world and probably the biggest fucking